What's up, everybody? This is Whiskey in the Six. I'm Rob. Doing the Amrut Portnova. So Monday I released my review of the intermediate sherry. This one was bottled in 2015, April of 2015. It's batch number 06. Cool story behind this one. It is an unpeated single malt from India, of course. Matured initially in a combination of new American oak and ex-bourbon barrels, then transferred to once used port pipes, then transferred back into ex-bourbon barrels. So it's very similar to the review I did on Monday of the Amrut Intermediate Sherry, where it's ex-bourbon, then sherry, then back into ex-bourbon. This one has an additional bit of aging in new oak. The reason why they called it Portnova is because there's a place in India called Portnovo, which was under Portuguese rule for a very long time. And my experience with this has been all pleasant. Very, very nice stuff. So, on the nose, has that Amrut characteristic, that distillery characteristic. It's a little bit of like an oatmeal sweetness, like an oatmeal and maple syrup combination. There's a lot of like a strawberry note, like a cooked strawberry in this one. Strawberry jam. Strong milk chocolate note on this one as well. Again, with that maple syrup, that honestly it reminds me of a meal that I have almost every other day for breakfast, which is oatmeal, blueberries, maple syrup, and a little bit of walnuts. (62.1%). So this one's hefty. Like I said, it's a single malt. I haven't had a bad Amrut yet. The only one that I wasn't crazy about was the Amrut Spectrum 004. And I think the only reason that I wasn't crazy about that one is because of the high expectations and the difficulty in acquiring that bottle. This one's also pretty difficult to acquire. I was lucky enough to pick it up in Alberta, but it's nowhere near as hard to acquire as some of the Spectrums. We were lucky, Jeremy from Sipper Social Club and I were lucky enough to try the 005 Spectrum, and that one is something else. That one is crazy good. So sweet, so musty, so malty. It's just beautiful stuff. On the palate, so it's got some heat to it, of course, as you would expect from 62.1%, but just a punch of flavor in the mouth. The viscosity on this one is crazy. It's double the viscosity of the intermediate sherry, just almost like the viscosity of a wine. Strawberries, maple, again that malty oatmeal type flavor. It's a bit of like a must, but like a pleasurable must. It's unpeated, but I think that new oak, that American new oak, gives it an element that leaves it with a bit of like a char maybe. Super sweet, Mouth filling. You can chew on this one almost. A touch of water is actually beneficial here. 62.1% is pretty hefty. Do you need it based on the sips, on the palate, that sort of thing? Probably not, but it'll last you a little bit longer if you put a little bit of water in here, and I do think you'll enjoy it a little bit more. But honestly, this is super flavorful. For bourbon fans, I think you would absolutely adore this whiskey because it's as viscous as some of the bourbons I've had recently, especially those barrel proof bourbons. Just a beautiful nose on this. With that strawberry, that maltiness, that maple syrup, that oatmeal flavor. So this is an A+ for me. This is a 90, I would say, if I had to give it a numeric mark. It could push a little higher, maybe a touch lower depending on how much you get it for, how difficult this is to seek out. But I think, honestly, this is just going to get better. I'm supposed to split this bottle with Jeremy, but he hasn't paid me for it yet, so I haven't decided if I'm actually going to do it just yet. I'll let him borrow it, maybe review it, but I think I'm going to keep it for myself. Yeah, small sips, and honestly, it just gets better and better. And I'm gonna end this video before I decide to give this even higher mark because I am pretty in love with this stuff. I would love to get the Amrut Fusion again. It's 50%, so it's a lot lower in ABV. But I would love to line up the Portnova, the Intermediate Sherry, and the Fusion one more time. Peter White thinks I'm crazy for thinking that the Fusion is better than the other two. He might be right. I don't know. I haven't had it in so long. I just remember being drawn back to that Fusion and like finishing that bottle in no time flat. So for the price, I think it's like 70 or 80 Canadian. You really can't go wrong. But this is fantastic stuff. Like I said, that's probably a 90. It's an A+. So if you like this video, guys, give it a thumbs up. If you really like the video, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. You guys can check me out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And if you like the channel quite a bit, head over to Patreon. I'll leave the link below and you guys can support it. Cheers.